By the way, I think that's my most favorite holiday sweater that you have, just because
Thank
it's like
you.
it's so colorful and fun. I love it.
Right? I remember when I saw, so for people who are, you forgot! Oh, I don't have mine because he's at home.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing an ad for this sweater, but I was like, it's too good. It's too good to be real. When I discovered it was real, I was like, but yeah, I love it. It's very colorful, and they like putting
very
like, little
festive
nods. Right? Because I mean, you gotta love Christmas, but sometimes the color palette's very limiting.
Yes.
So to me, it's still Christmassy, but it has so many bright colors.
Right? And I just immediately I start like hearing the music from the game when I see it. And I'm like, yeah.
Fucking slaps.
Right.
Anyway, hi, Cinema Peeps.
Hi, Cinema Peeps.
Sorry, were you waiting for us? We're busy talking.
We're just reminiscing over our lovely holiday sweaters.
Right. Do you have a sweater? No? Do you have a sweater on? What do you
It's a sweater, but it's boring. It's kind of a boring sweater. It's one of those like wrap ones where like, you know, you have like the yeah.
I think it looks nice.
Thank you. Literally, I got it at Value Village.
Ooh, La Value Village.
Thrifting. That's my specialty.
Gotta love a good thrift. I always joke that my clothing choices is between thrift stores and then like geek merch like this.
Right? Pretty much.
There's no in between.
I know. Well, just like with some of the stuff that's in stores nowadays, like it's just not my style or just doesn't fit. And I'm like, you know what? No offense to everybody who likes the crop tops and like the sweatpants and or just like whatever the pants are that people wear nowadays, or the wide leg. That's what it is, the wide leg pants. I'm like, you know, no offense. That's if people like that style, cool, but it's just not my style. I mean, you can never find it anywhere. So usually when I go to Value Village, I find a lot more things that I like to wear, and you know, they're either mint condition or in really good condition still, and yeah.
Which reminds me, we still have to go to that thrift store when you come down here.
Yes.
But also my mom pointed out there's an area that has like 3 or 4 thrift stores within walking distance of each other. Ooh. So
hell yeah.
Next time. But yeah, so let's start with a recap of Finding Mr. Christmas episode.
Here we go. Let's go into it.
And Hayden, if you're listening, we love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was my thought process. But yeah, we open up on episode 4.
The Talented Mr. Christmas, this episode was called.
Mm-hmm. Which was like, I was like, oh, the Talented Mr. Ripley. And then I was like, nope, that's
literally
that's probably not what they're
literally thought the exact same thing.
But that's okay. That's okay. They did for their best face.
Yes, you got it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. They did like a relay race, so that was pretty exciting to watch.
Yes, that was chaotic. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Loved every minute of it.
The first thing, honestly, just in the last couple episodes, like the amount of injuries that have taken place, I'm like, Jonathan, you need to make sure, I hope there's like a first aid kit nearby because somebody cut their hand in this episode before. Someone like poor Daxton. I don't think it was an injury caused from the show. Hopefully not. There weren't no details given, but poor Daxton with his eye. And then I can't remember who got hurt this time. Oh no, it was somebody, I can't remember who dove into the tree, but like I'm sure that left
Jonathan
a mark.
dove into the tree, yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan dove into the tree, yeah. And I'm sure that left a mark.
He's fine. Him and the tree are fine. But yeah, it was very chaotic. They also had some more Hallmark super fans cheering from the sidelines.
Yes.
Bless. And surprisingly, Ezra won. I was like, wow, he really, he's like, I put my bootstraps on and I'm going to fucking crush it. Mm-hmm. So then he won the advantage going into the Starlight Challenge, which Star Quality. Yeah. Darn it, so close. Just not star material, I guess. But yes, as the episode was Talented Mr. Christmas, we walked on to what looked like basically a replica of the Mean Girls set from Christmas time.
Made it a point to comment on that as well.
Yes. And I mean, I know in my heart it was going to happen, but I was like, is this challenge going to be they have to recreate the dance from Mean Girls?
I almost thought maybe like Jonathan or Melissa was going to come out in like one of the Santa outfits on stage and like start just like doing it for fun.
That would be beautiful.
That would have been hilarious.
But no, they had a talent show, which I was like, all right, fine. I don't know about you. I was pretty like mediocre on the talent show just because I just found it like I was like, I don't know how this really connects. But obviously there was a second part to it, which I think connects a little more. Because I also feel like maybe talent shows are unfair because like I don't know, like if I was told, hey, you have to put on a talent for a talent show, I'd be like, I'm fucking hooped. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. So I mean, it was really funny when Parker's like, I'm going to show people how to fold a sheet.
A fitted sheet.
And I mean, I was laughing, but I was also like thinking about it. I was like, well, what the fuck would I would have done? You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's rough. But I'm also just like, well, I don't know what I would have fucking done. You know, Jonathan, because he was a high jumper, was like, I'll just jump over shit. And I was like, 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah obviously like he wrote a rap and sang it, but obviously because once again he wants to drop a little thing. He's like, when I was in Hamilton, I was like, oh, you just couldn't wait, could you? You were like, I'm holding on, it's tight, but I'm just gonna sprinkle it in now and then,
just to remind everybody.
Yeah. Hayden did a magic show.
Well, because he's a children's entertainer,
yes.
So this is like right up his alley.
Mm-hmm. And then Ezra did like he rolled on rollerblades and made drinks.
Which I was impressed by. Like, considering, we didn't really, like, Ezra's kind of been in the background for the last few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And he just didn't really show much of his personality and stuff like that. So I felt like with him winning the festive face-off and then showing his talent in this, I was like, okay, like, we kind of get to see a little bit more of him. And he seems like a fun dude.
Mm-hmm. And then
I guess the intention too, sorry to interrupt you, but I guess the intention too for the talent show was for them to kind of see what other not maybe hidden talents, but what other qualities they possess other than acting. Because then I can't remember if it was Jonathan who mentioned it or if it was contestant Jonathan who said, because he was doing the jumps and stuff, he's like, well, having stunt experience could be an asset to being an actor and stuff. So like having whatever talent be an asset to their acting that they could use within their performance in the movie.
Right.
And
I mean, they also gave the example of Luke McFarlane, who was in Catch Me If You Claus, where in the movie he listed, I had never heard of him before, but I guess originally the writers had wrote his character to be a violinist, but he's like, actually, I can play the cello. So they're
which
like,
I had no idea.
Right? Yeah. And it's cool things like that. So again, maybe I'm doubling back on what I said. Maybe they just want to be like, yeah, we want to see what you can bring as well on top of that. Mm-hmm. But again, like I said, I feel like that's like a slightly unfair thing because like unless you have something that can be easily transferable,
yes,
like you're kind of hooped a little bit.
Right. Although if Parker does win, I would love to see him fold a fitted sheet in the movie. just for the sheer fact that was what he did. Just have like a nod, that'd be hilarious.
Right. But so the second part is they had someone from E-Talk come, so they kind of had to do like a little press interview, which
was cool.
Very cool, very smart. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Blake did some two-stepping. He's kind of
two-stepping with one of the audience members.
Although I could help but notice this episode, I was like, your ego's getting a little too big, sir.
Yeah, I started to notice
your
that too.
Your ego's getting a little too big. When he was like, oh, I get to be interviewed by pretty girls. I get on. I'm like,
right? And wasn't it him who was like, he was struggling real hard trying to pull that sleigh with his cowboy boots because there was no grip. And then like, was it Ezra or somebody else was also wearing boots? And then he like turned around.
I think it was Parker.
Heels.
It was Parker.
Oh, Parker. Yeah, it was Parker. And he's like, oh man, why didn't I think of that? So then he started doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, he had to bring it up. He's like, I'm wearing my boots. They have no grip. I'm like, yes, you're a cowboy. And then when Ezra did the splits, he's like, you can't do a split in Wranglers. I'm like, we fucking get it. Okay. You're a goddamn cowboy. Like, Jesus Murphy. So yeah, it was a little bit of ego on him. Just a little bit of ego. But he still did very well in the interview, so.
That's the thing. He's got his charm, his southern charm that he can use to his advantage, right? So,
but how long will it last is the
exactly.
question. But yeah, so then we ended off, at the elimination where Ezra actually won again, which again, I'm maybe a little iffy on. I am glad that he's coming more out of his shell, but I think there's still moments where I'm like, there's like a disconnect I feel from him.
Okay.
But maybe I think that might just be a me thing, but whatever. But he wins, and then it was very funny to me that Parker and Hayden were at the bottom when you were like, we should make predictions. I was literally thinking, we're never fucking doing that again because they're fucking at the bottom. They fucking up our minds. But yeah, so then basically I kind of figured, I was like, well, Parker's going. He didn't do good in the interview, and his talent wasn't the best. But again, I felt really bad because again, he was talking about his wife a lot. And then the ET reporter was like, man, if he talked about his wife one more time, eye roll, you want to play into the fantasy. And I'm like, I guess, but I don't know. I like to think we've evolved as an audience where you can be like, yes, this is Parker. This is he has a family life, but he can still be a leading man, but still talk about I think Jonathan just phrased it better, where it's we didn't learn more about him. We learned about his wife. Where it's if you can find a way to incorporate that better. So I liked his note a little bit better because, I said, I was just, I like to think we've evolved. You know,
I agree. No,
we're not playing, I don't know, the fantasy. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Well, and too, she's a talk show professional. So dealing with press and promoting and stuff like that, that's her thing. So that's kind of in the realm of where she's coming from with that note. But yes, you're right. Jonathan definitely, I think, was a little more mindful in how he phrased it. Because I think, absolutely. I think it's great when we can see a more vulnerable, genuine, authentic side to some of the celebrities that we follow, because it shows that they're also humans too, and they do have other things that they care about and value, not just their careers, not just being famous, kind of thing, right? But I think going forward, it's a good note for him to consider, so that he doesn't fully stop talking about what he cares about, but also showcases a little bit more of him.
And I think Ezra kind of got a very similar note, but again, because he won, he got the advantage. He could redo his question of being like, hey, bring it back to finding Mr. Christmas, because that's what you're here for. You want to promote the show.
And I thought that was really, really smart of her to do that, and was when I figured out when I realized that was kind of the whole point of why she was there, I'm like, okay, so that's kind of interesting to kind of keep that nugget in the back of your head when you watch some press interviews with celebrities and stuff like that, is their intention for being there is to promote what they're a part of. And so when they kind of go off on a tangent, it's like, okay, come on, bring it back, right?
Save that for when you go on the podcast, right? But when you're doing
exactly
press stuff, you kind of have to be quick.
Yeah.
And so this is where earlier I was telling Kendra, I blacked out. I must have blacked out the last couple minutes of that episode, because I remember them eliminating Parker. He leaves. Hayden's crying, but then Jonathan goes on this weird speech of being like, Hallmark's all about second chances, so it's up to you guys. Should Parker come back? I was like, I'm sorry, did I just black that out? I would have remembered that. I would have been but I was like, fuck, this is news to me, and I've already watched this episode. Am I on crack? What's going on?
No, they left us on a cliffhanger, and I kind of had a feeling that they were going to do that because of just how, I don't know, just how, because of how sweet Parker is, and it was it did seem unfair in some ways, like you said with the talent thing. It's oh man, but he's got so much more to give, and he could there's so much more opportunities for him to show his stuff. So for him to go out on that, it's kind of oh man, give him another shot, right? Now going forward, I think the thing that'll be interesting to see is, now that if he's given a second chance, he's getting it. But if he does, is he actually going to step it up and prove that he belongs there, or is he just kind of continue to do what he's been doing, right?
Right. And again, speaking in note of the talent show, I thought Jonathan did really good, because again, he was incorporating his high jumping into I'm gonna jump over Christmas trees and do all these boxes. Yeah. They're he kind of slipped up a little bit, and I'm like, bro, what do you want? What do you want? Like I as an audience, I felt like that was slightly unfair too. So maybe that's why they're like, because there's so much gray. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's staying because I think Hallmark. I saw an ad where he was like doing something with like hot chocolate and marshmallows.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that can't be Parker because he's already gone and we haven't seen that. So I think the boys are gonna let him stay.
We'll find out.
We will. So, going off of last episode, we're gonna still say who our favorites are still in the running for.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, even though they might end up on the bottom apparently, or maybe we're not good at picking. I don't know what's happening.
Right?
I think Hayden's still a big one for me, but I think I agree with you. I think Elijah, like he just kind of has it all. Hamilton shit aside, he kind of has it all. So it's like, yeah, I could see that.
Right, and I feel like each of the boys, who they got, like. Each one of them has potential to be a Hallmark leading man, but for the specific movie that they're casting them for, I don't think some of them are the ideal pick. So like when I think of like Blake, again, we'll see what happens. But when I think of like Blake and like Parker, those guys seem like more of like those Hallmark movies that are all about from the small town and we got to save the Christmas festival, like that kind of one, right?
Save the Christmas tree farm.
Right? But for this one, yeah, I think some of the other guys like Elijah and Hayden and who knows, maybe Ezra. Like I said, Ezra's really starting to come out of his shell this time. So we'll see how he does next episode and see if that continues.
Right. Yeah, I think right now I don't know why I'm most worried about Jonathan.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm most worried about him. Because again, I feel like he obviously has like they said, he has the star power. He did great in the interview, but there's just like a couple things that seem to be like tripping him up. Again, I know this was 2 episodes ago, but like I'm just thinking of like when they did the skating thing and he didn't know where his cameras were and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's true.
I feel like things like that, it's going to come down to shit like that pretty much. So yeah. We'll have to see. Right. But right. So sorry. Do you have any? And you kind of mentioned a couple people, but do you have any like one pick kind of thing or no?
I think I'm gonna still stick with Hayden and Elijah, but like I said, I'm really intrigued to see like Ezra a little bit more and like what he can showcase, especially if they do more acting challenges. I want to see like what he's capable of.
Exactly,
and Parker too, but we'll see, right?
I think. Yeah. I was gonna say. The episode tonight, but no, the next day. I think I read there was a little synopsis on the TV for the next 2 episodes, so I might be already getting them mixed up. But I think the next one's like an improv comedy thing, so I think that could be really funny.
Yes,
and I can't remember if it's that one or the next episode, but they say they have an emotional acting scene to do. So that I'm going to be very interested in seeing.
Yes.
And sorry, my last thought about Finding Mr. Christmas. I had this thought, I think, after we finished last week's episode. It was buzzing in my little brain. We were talking about, maybe it was off the pot. I don't remember. We were talking about like the longevity, I think, of like Finding Mr. Christmas and like what they could do. And I was like, they should do a female version of that.
That would be interesting.
I mean, The Bachelor and Bachelorette, they do it. And that way, like, maybe they could, I don't think they probably have the budget, but they probably can't do both. So I think, or do they does The Bachelor and Bachelorette, does it go off? Like, do they go off every year? Like 1 year's The Bachelor, the next year's The Bachelorette? They
kind of switch it off. Okay. I can't remember. It's like seasonal. I can't remember which one goes first, but it's like The Bachelorette. It's been so.
But they don't have both in the same year. Basically.
No, I think it's like one's in fall, one's in spring, and then like they have The Bachelor in Paradise in the summer kind of thing. And then now there's the Golden Bachelor. It's too much. It's too much.
But yeah, I think I don't know. I think we could do the same thing and find like the next Hallmark leading lady.
Right? Or it'd be kind of cool if they did both at the same time and they picked the guy and the girl and they had to like do that together? Like, that'd be kind of interesting.
That's the third season, Kendra. That's the third season.
Jonathan, hire us on as writers. We would love to. We would love to help you out on this.
I will just stand there and just be not very helpful, but I'll just be like, I have notes. I have notes. All right. Okay, so I don't know about you. I didn't watch any new Hallmark films that came out this year, but I watched a new Hallmark film to me.
Okay.
I watched the Christmas Spectacular.
The Holiday Spectacular?
Wow, I'm glad you knew what I was talking about because I fucking butchered that. Sorry, everybody.
Same thing. Christmas holiday, same thing.
Yeah, so I watched that.
Awesome.
I was gonna try to watch The Confessions of a Christmas Letter. Okay. I just unfortunately didn't have time.
Okay.
Because again, I saw a preview while I was prepping some food, and they made a reference to Misery, so I was like, oh, I have to watch this. I have to watch this.
Nice.
That was the one with the office people in it.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, all right, okay.
Nice.
I'll give it a try.
With Angela and Kevin.
Yeah.
Nice.
And her husband's played by a guy, I'm already blanking on his name, but he plays Hank on Corner Gas, a Canadian show.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
So when I saw him, and then the reference to the Misery thing, I was like, oh, I gotta watch this later. So
nice.
Hopefully that'll be next week, but we'll see. But yeah, but that's all I watched was the Holiday Spectacular.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And I ended up watching 2 as well. Both not intentionally, but both were Ashley Williams. Is that her name? Ashley Williams, the Hallmark queen.
Mm-hmm.
Both she's in. One's an older one, I think, from a couple years ago, called The Northern Lights of Christmas.
Oh.
And then I watched the new one, the Jingle Bell Run, which was that Amazing Race one.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I will try to watch that one this week because I.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Let's hear about Holiday Spectacular.
Me. Moi.
You.
So yes, this was a I think this movie came out 2 years ago, and Kendra watched it and was like, Caleigh, you have to watch it. And I was like, yeah, of course. And it only took me 2 years, but I did it. But yeah, it is, again, I think it was probably at the time a very big deal because it stars the Rockettes, the New York City Radio City
Music Hall Rockettes. Yeah.
That's a mouthful. You know, I know. That's a mouthful. So
I think this was around the era of Hallmark where they were venturing out of the small town formula.
Yes.
And they were starting to do they wanted to go bigger and beyond for their stories.
Right. So basically we open up on, I'm pretty sure what's inside Radio City, because I was there once before in New York City.
New York.
I actually got to meet a Rockette too.
Ooh.
I know. I'm already pretty cool. In depth with the straps.
I have a connection to this.
I do. But we start off with a girl running out of her audition, and her grandma's like, what the fuck's going on, girl? And she's like, all the girls made fun of me because they say I'm only gonna get the part because of you. And grandma's like, shut the fuck up. Let me tell you my entire life story. For the hour apparently the break was for this fucking thing. But basically we learned all about her humble beginnings as a rich girl, and then becoming a rockette, and then venturing off on her own, and and really living, really
living, yes. Hashtag living.
Hashtag living. But honestly, I was really impressed. Again, it's a period piece because it takes place in 1958, I believe.
Sure.
Somewhere around there. But again, 1950s. So I was really impressed with all the set deck and the costumes. Everybody felt in place. It was really good. They really, I think, pushed the CGI for a Hallmark film, but stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought they did a really good job. I think a couple of the green screen stuff didn't work, but I think it's just because, unfortunately, the main actress in the film was a blonde. Mm-hmm. So I think the green just kind of unfortunately bleeds, and it just is more prominent on her hair. But I forgave it. I was like, whatever. You're trying something big, and I can respect that. So I was like, whatever. But yeah, overall, I was like really impressed. They packed in a lot of story. Shockingly, I was like,
I know,
30 minutes. All right, let's keep this going. I guess let's fucking keep going. But yeah, I was really impressed overall. And it was really cute. I think if I had to really knock it, like they kind of had this character introduced as like, I guess, a villain type girl, but she really didn't do anything. So no, like, you could have just been like, this is I think maybe the idea they were trying to go for is like, she's a stone cold, I don't need nobody kind of person. But I don't know. The way they were kind of introducing her, I thought she was going to be like a villain character, but she wasn't. So I was like, okay, this seems like a lot of work for nada, but whatever. It was whatever. But I enjoyed all the characters. Her little love interest was into photography, so I was like, well, of course. I will say, I always enjoy, like, obviously in Hallmark there's the conflict, and obviously the conflict in this movie was she was supposed to be wed to Maxwell, the robot, which, I mean, he's a fine robot. And he even acknowledged, he was just like, yeah, I'm just here for shits. Cool beans. Yep. Like, what do you mean live? Marry for love? Like, what? I don't know. Like, he wasn't much of like I don't know. To me, he was a robot. But a lovable robot. So I was like, okay, a lovable robot, yeah. But basically, she goes to audition to become a Rockette for a season. And she does, but she's lying to her family. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to New York dress shopping. But yeah, instead she's dancing with the Rockettes, and then she finds out, I want to marry for love. I want hashtag be living.
Hashtag living, yeah.
Hashtag living, And then she finds her true love. They get together, and and then Grandma's like, and that is my story. And I'm pretty sure if I was the girl, I'd be like, Grandma, that's cool and all, but like, how's this going to help me with my own?
How's this helping me? Yeah.
This is not helpful. But yeah, that's the movie. Like I said, overall, I was genuinely like impressed of like the lengths Hallmark kind of went for this one.
Right.
And really, they only do it for like big named, if there's a big name attached to it. So like, I didn't really recognize a lot of the actors in this one. So I think I've seen the old, like the lady who played the grandma. Maybe I've seen her before, but like for the most part, it was pretty, to me anyway, unknown cast. They might have been other things, but like stuff that I wasn't recognizable, I did recognize. Yeah.
Well, the main girl, she's definitely since doing this one. I don't know if she's done any previous to it, but since doing this one, she's gotten, I think, at least 2 or more films since, because she was in the Heidelberg Holiday last year, and then this year she's in A Carol for Two.
But yeah, I like seeing the Rockette stands. I was like, this is really fun. And I think it was a big thing for Hallmark. So, applause.
Right?
Applause for Hallmark.
Round of applause, yes.
Hashtag living.
Hashtag living.
But yes, I want to, now that I don't want to hear about Holiday Joyride, but I want to watch that.
Yes.
But I want to hear, what was the
Northern Lights of Christmas? Yes.
With, that lady.
With Ashley Williams, yes. She's been a Hallmark Christmas queen since, I believe, since Christmas in Evergreen is like one of the main ones she's known for. Yes, her sister too,
They did the Christmas swap, I think, that one year. They made like
the sister
movies.
Swap.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I like her, but sometimes she does the really, really mushy Hallmark ones, and I'm like,
yes,
ooh.
She does.
Her and Allison Sweeney, you gotta watch out. I'm like, Allison Sweeney is such a fun time, and then like all the movies are like wildly like super depressing, and I'm like, no.
Right?
No.
Well, this one was kind of a shot in the dark because I was just browsing through the guide and seeing what was on, and then I saw one that said Northern Lights of Christmas. So obviously Northern Lights, yes, I'm down. Secondly, I remember you showing, I think it was you who showed me like last year maybe, that there was one that they were filming where they kind of had like the Northern Lights on like almost like a big backdrop behind them. And it looked really cool, but so I was like, oh, maybe this has something to do with that. It didn't. So spoiler alert. I thought it was you. It might have been somebody else, but I thought it was you. Anyways,
I'll take the credit, but yeah.
It doesn't have any point now, so it doesn't matter. But that was one of the reasons why I had wanted to watch it anyway, too. So, it is cute. It's definitely, I wouldn't say it's like overly mushy, but it's your typical, it was still of the realm of the typical Hallmark trope, you know?
Okay.
So Ashley Williams plays a pilot. She's a pilot. And her passion is flying. But she has a family friend who lived in Alaska, who I think he was like the reason she became a pilot, if I remember correctly. He had something to do with it, but he passed away, and she was like really close to him, and he left her his ranch. So that she inherited his reindeer ranch. So that's the tie to Christmas. So she's obviously sad about hearing him passing, and she's like, okay, well, I don't know what to do with this reindeer ranch, so I'm gonna have to sell it because I'm a pilot and I just don't have the means or the time. I have to sell it. So she flies to Alaska to get her affairs in order and get things ready to sell the ranch. And conveniently, she's like, well, who's been taking care of the ranch since my friend passed away? And the lady's like, oh, well, there's a ranch hand, and he's like really good with the reindeer, and he takes really good care of the ranch, but he's been doing it for the last like however long since this happened. And it's the guy from the Christmas charade. Right? I'm like, oh, okay, hey, cool, we know him. So then basically the rest of the movie has to do with her kind of like grieving the loss of her friend and like remembering all the good times she had. Trust me, it's not as sad as it sounds. I'm making it sound much more sad than it is. She's very bubbly throughout most of the movie. Okay. But she's basically like, she's, reminiscing on good times and stuff, and kind of grappling with the fact that maybe she doesn't actually want to sell the ranch, or she just wants to make sure it goes to good people and not someone who's just going to tear it down and set up a hotel kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So they do the old, right? So they do the old, oh, I remember when so-and-so used to throw the Christmas festival at their ranch. I wish we could still do that. And then she's like, let's give it one last good yeehaw and let's do another Christmas festival for everybody. And so long story short, they do that, and her and the ranch handler, they throw the whole thing together. And she's like, I don't want to sell this place. I love it too much. I'll figure out how I can still like be a pilot and own this ranch. And then the ranch hand obviously is like, I want to start a #life with you. I love being on this ranch and I don't want to leave either. And so they all live happily ever after. And conveniently, the guy who's been like the male pilot in Alaska, who's been like getting all the deliveries, he's like, well, when my baby comes, I'm gonna need somebody to fly the plane while I'm raising my baby. So the job's open if you want it. And she's like, sold. And they all live happily ever after the end.
Wow. I wish life
and the Northern Lights do appear at one point in this movie, yes.
Yeah, I'm about to say, what the fuck?
I think I don't know, like the town's name is Aurora, so I feel like that's also the connection with the Northern Lights too, but the Northern Lights do make an appearance. It's just not a significant appearance in the movie.
That's rude. And the movie's titled Under the Northern Lights.
Right?
Kind of fucking rude.
Yeah.
Well. Well, that sounds like a hoot nanny.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have it on while I do Christmas cookies or something.
Yeah, it's a good one to put on in the background for sure.
Hell yeah. Background Hallmark films. We love them. You're not as good as the good ones, but we appreciate you. We appreciate you just the same.
Yes. But I'm excited to hear what you think of Jingle Bell Run. So I think we'll definitely have to save that one for next week.
Yes, I am so pumped. And speaking of that, I guess that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. And again, Hayden, if you are watching these podcasts, please comment something nice about us. Or, I don't know, something crazy. Tell us something about being on set of Finding Mr. Christmas.
Yes.
We think it's you. We don't know it's you. But yes, continue subscribing to Two Pretty Cool Gals, in my opinion. And leave a comment down below. You know, I think we're starting to really ramp up the Christmas movies. I know I'm getting really excited. So let us know if you've already watched these ones or any others.
And we did mention last time that we were going to start a tier list. So I feel like we're gonna get that rolling, and I'm excited. And we'll reveal all of it all together at the end. I'm excited for that.
Yes, me too. I am so pumped. And leave this video a little like-see. Just because. I can't think of anything really cool and snazzy to say, so you're just gonna have to give us a like-see. If we made you laugh today, give us a like. Boom. If we didn't make you laugh today, give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. But anyways, watch all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ooh, monkey.
Monkey.